All right, guys, welcome back to the Zoinked podcast. This time we are going to be talking about sports betting. We got two different co-hosts now on for this episode. You got Jameson Kramer and Chris Bloom.
So
So for our first question of betting, we are going to ask, how do I start making sports bets and what do I need to look for? One of you guys can start with that.
You got it, Chris.
yeah. So for sports betting, the nice thing about it is you can have like any type of money. Like I probably started putting like $50 and stuff like that. And then you just want to look online and see if you can find any free bets or just like stuff that is able to show you what to bet on, like player props and different sports and stuff like that.
So how I would start, definitely download some of the apps, the big ones, the FanDuels, the sports bet, all those ones. Those are easy ways to get started. A lot of times they give you free bets to start with when you make an account, refer a friend, stuff like that. So that's a great way to get started. And then just it's pretty straightforward from there.
So yeah, they got a lot of sports betting apps out there: FanDuel, Caesars, Unibet, BetMGM, PointsBet, DraftKings, BetRivers. I mean, I like to use the favorite out there, FanDuel, just because like I'm familiar with it and it's easy to use, and they have a lot of promo offers, which we'll get into later. And I've also received like a lot of free bets from FanDuel, so that's why I also like to use FanDuel a lot. And I mainly use them because I have a Venmo account, which I also have my own Venmo credit card, so I have a good bit of money on my Venmo, and I like to transfer money from my Venmo to FanDuel instead of using one of my credit cards, just because like I don't know, I don't like to really put my credit card information out there, so I just use Venmo and stuff. But moving on to question number two. What do the odds mean, negative and plus, and how do they increase or decrease the amount of money I make?
All right, I got that. So whenever the odds are negative, that means it's more likely to happen. So something that's like 50-50 will be like negative 150, negative 100, stuff like that. But then if it was like Steph Curry versus me in like a 1v1, like that shit would be like negative like 50K. Like that it's like supposed to happen. Okay. And then that's like the opposite. Like when you look at something that's like 50-50, but like more likely to not happen, it's like plus 100, stuff like that. But then if it's like something crazy, it's like plus 50K. And from there, you just make a lot more money.
That was a great example.
Thank you.
Yeah, so basically, and plus minus, when it's the money lines, that means how much money you would win or have to bet to get $100. So and then but plus minus in the middle of games is like, say the Eagles were minus 2.5 against Jacksonville this weekend. That would mean if they won, but it was by less than 3, then you still lose if you bet on the Eagles to win. So that's how that works. And like you said, the higher positive the odds are, the more money you would make it if you win.
Yes, because the higher the plus of the odds, the greater the odds, but the more money you make, obviously, because the odds are greater. And if it's more negative, like freaking Alabama every week, freaking negative, freaking 3 million or some shit like that, can't even bet on the game because they're favored by that much. You're not gonna make jack shit off that. If you bet like $10, you're making like freaking 5 cents or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But okay, so yeah, that's pretty much how the odds work, plus and minus. So now moving on to question 3, should I bet a single bet by itself or do a parlay? And what is a parlay?
So I like doing parlays because you're able to put like $5-10 and not easily make, but like more times or not, like you'll win a good bet, like 100, 150. A parlay is when you take multiple single bets and put them in the same thing and they all have to hit for you to win the money. For a one-time bet, I would do like, if you really want to do like a money line, but you're not sure like what else to bet, like you could do like Tampa Bay money line and still make money off that.
Yeah, basically, I think starting out, I think single bets might be better to be able to get your feet wet and try and see like how things work out, and then maybe as you progress, maybe do some more parlays. As you said, parlays just adding it on, and the money goes up exponentially the more things you have on it, just because of the odds and things like that. So yeah, I think if I was starting out, I would start out with single bets, and if you like it, if you're doing good, move to some parlays because you can get bigger payouts.
I agree with that. If you don't have the experience doing like single bets or just like betting in general, but for like our situations right now, like I'm freshly graduated out of college. Jimmy, you're in your senior year. Chris, you're in your master's program. So we all don't really have a lot of money ourselves right now. So I like to personally bet smaller and try and win bigger. So I like to do parlays over single bets. But yeah, I agree that if you are inexperienced, maybe you should try out doing a couple single bets or learn before you even bet at all how to bet correctly or in your favor to be able to profit. So yeah, the most I've done on a bet for a parlay and lost was like $50. Like that's the most I'm gonna go. I wouldn't necessarily go anywhere over that just because I feel like that's just like how you're gonna lose money faster if you go anywhere over that. But yeah, normally I go around like 10, 15, $20 with a parlay. So number 4, how do you profit more than you lose? What is the spread, money line, and over under?
I think the way that I make more money is that the cool thing about FanDuel, which we'll talk about more later in the promo section, but they run a bunch of promos that are almost free money. So we'll talk about that later, but that helps me too. And then when I gain that money, I'll bet a bunch of it on the football games on Sundays, like $5, $10. I'll do like 2 or 3 games for each slate. And most of the time I'll win at least one for the day and make like $100 and stuff like that and go from there. And then what were the other 3 things that you said over the last 3?
I can take those.
Oh, okay. He's got it.
What is spread, money line, and over under?
Okay, so spread, like I said earlier, is plus minus. So say, use the same example. The Eagles are minus 2.5 against the Jaguars. I don't know that they actually are or not, but sounds right. So that would mean that they would have to win by 3 for you to win if you bet on the Eagles. But say you bet on the Jags plus 2.5 and they lose, but they lose only by 20-19, only by 1 point, then you still get your money back and you still win off of that. The money line is, if it's negative, that means it's more than not likely going to happen. So say it was negative 140, you would have to bet $140 to win your 100. And say it was plus 140, if you bet $100, you would win 140. So that's basically how that goes. And over under is usually for points in a game, or it could be for individual stats as well. And they basically set a number around their average, and you have to predict whether they're going to get more than that or less than that throughout the course of the game, or points or anything like that. So that's how those work.
Okay, so I recommend betting small on parlays until one eventually hits. Yeah, the spread is obviously so say like last week Florida was plus 11. They covered that. They only lost by like 5 or something like that. That would be like something good to bet on. And over under, yeah. So you can either do like player props, like the players over like 50 yards receiving, under your 50 yards receiving, rushing, passing, like all those different ones. But yeah, also like total combined score and stuff. You can do over and under for, which is like in the main thing with money line, which is like whatever team you think is going to win the game, and then spread. you think the team's going to win by this many points or be able to like cover it or not. So moving on to question number 5. What sports do you guys prefer to bet on and why? What are some of your biggest wins and losses?
All right, I'll take this one. I bet on a lot of different sports, but I make the most money on NFL. I used to do NBA, but in my first couple bets, I had a big loss one time. It was 10 to win like 400, and all I needed was left. It was like a 10 leg parlay. My last leg, I needed James Harden to score 1 point in the last 6 minutes of the game, and he did not. So, and for NFL, I'm a lot more experienced in that. So I kind of know what happens. I have my teams that I do really good on. The past 2 weeks, I've won around $400 on the Ravens game. So I'm getting pretty comfortable with some of the teams. And it just really helps to just know stats and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I prefer college football, honestly, if I had my choice. But definitely NFL is up there as well. NBA is okay sometimes. It can be very frustrating, but I do not like betting on baseball. There's just too many games. You have no idea what's going to happen in any given game. It's just I mean I can see it how it can be fun for someone, but baseball is not for me betting wise. Uh, so I actually just started betting like very recently. So my biggest win was last night. I put $10 on Trayvon Diggs getting an interception, and there he got the game-winning interception at the end. So I won like $43 off that. So that was fun.
Yeah, so I like to bet college football, NFL, and college basketball. March Madness is probably like one of my favorite times of the year. Honestly, I've won a shitload of money throughout doing like March Madness pools and stuff, just by my bracket being like one of the best. And yeah, college football, I'd recommend. Well, I like betting money line for college football because it's not as crazy as NFL. Like, how about the fucking Colts beating the Chiefs like that? I just didn't expect that shit to happen. So like, avoid money line for NFL because NFL is absolutely crazy. If anything, I like to bet player props on that. Last night, or not last night, but what was that? Monday, yeah, Monday night. I actually won. I had Noah Brown 40 plus receiving yards, CD Lamb 70 plus receiving, CD
Yeah, baby.
touchdown, Saquon touchdown, Saquon over 76.5 rushing yards, Sterling Shepard 25 plus receiving yards, and Zeke Elliott 50 plus receiving yards to win $665.15. So that was pretty lit. But yeah, I'd go for NFL, definitely more player props, college football, money line. So moving on to question 6. Why is it important to look at historical stats and read up on team stats and game plans before you place a bet?
Especially, I see this in the NFL a lot because there's just some teams that just have dominated teams over the years. Examples: Green Bay over the Bears, the Jaguars over the Colts. Even when the Jaguars sucked last year, they found a way to beat the Colts. And until this year, the Tampa Bay Bucks would always lose to the Saints. And it's just like those division rivalries, and it's just tough. And just over those years, players just have played better in those games. So if you look up on stuff like that, you'll never get surprised by some of the game results.
Yeah, I also think it can be helpful in a team versus team basis, including like some teams have better secondary, some teams have better front sevens. You have to know going into the game what you think how the offensive team will adjust their game plan to the defense's weakness, and that can be a big influence sometimes in picking running back overs if you know they have a stronger secondary, so they're going to try and run the ball more and stuff like that. So it's definitely very important to do your research before you place a bet.
Yeah, I mean, history always, or it doesn't always come true, but like, I feel like just like looking at it and finding like stats for players and stuff and looking into like, I mean, I don't always agree with what the experts say, but I like to see what a lot of them like put out there and say about their predictions for if they think this player is going to have like a boom or bust game and stuff like that. When I make my bets, I read up on stuff like that. And I look at like the teams like defensive rankings and offensive, as you said, like their front seven and just who they have for that game. And also, you got to take injuries into effect as well, because that could be a huge difference in your picks. So moving on to question number 7. We're finally talking about promos. What are promos and how do I take advantage of those opportunities?
So FanDuel does an amazing job with promos. Actually, I make a ton of money. There's some fun ones. I haven't talked about MLB yet, but the MLB, they have a Tuesday promotion that was Dinger Tuesdays, and you bet $25 on a player to hit a home run. And if they hit that home run, you win that money. But even if they don't, you make $5 back for each home run hit in that game. So some up to $25. So most of the times you get your money back. Same with the NFL. They have the no sweat parlays, and you get to bet $10 on a parlay. And even if your parlay doesn't hit, you make your money back, which is nice. And I've won actual like good bets off of them too, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes I've seen games where like college football games, like the more you bet on it, the higher the spread goes up. I've seen it where it's like some teams are minus 100 or whatever. So it's just like, or I guess it would be plus 100, but yeah, it's just like crazy odds, and you should definitely always take advantage of them because a lot of times like they're doing that. They're doing that half the time so you win money, so you come back and continue betting more on other things. So there are some things where they actually do want you to win. You just have to be smart about how you use it.
Yeah, promos are great and all. The only thing that like sucks, I mean, like, yeah, they're giving you a free bet, but like a lot of people think, like new bettors going into it, you opt into that promo and they're just like, oh, I have that, so I can cash it out or something now, which you can't withdraw that money that you get for free money. You have to place it as a bet. But yeah, if you win with it, it's very nice, and that shit happened to me Monday, and I was very excited about that. But yeah, so promos, you got to check those out. FanDuel, they offer a lot, so I really like using FanDuel because of that. And if you're a new customer to FanDuel, I'd say you should definitely take advantage of their like big events and promos that are coming up, because you can actually win some big money off your first go at it if you predict it right, and it's a free bet. So yeah, I definitely got to check out promos because it will help you save money. Now going to number 8, who sets the lines for games and why is it important to not go crazy with your money on a bet with high odds?
FanDuel and like the other sports books, they kind of work together to get the lines. And it's just like would like generally would be the case in the scenario. And it's good to not bet a lot on a high odds thing because majority of the time you aren't going to win that. And like if you spend too much on one bet and you lose it all, you might get discouraged and want to like quit, or you could use up all your money that like you allowed to bet for that. And you don't want to keep depositing because that's how these companies get you.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think Vegas has a huge say in what the odds are. People always go off of Vegas. I think Vegas comes out with them first, and all the other companies kind of look at it and see if they agree, and set it based off of that. And like you said, not putting a lot of money on stuff with high odds. You'll place $5 on a parlay and you'll win like $100 and be like, wow, why didn't I put 20 on that? And every time, and that's how it. I always get you after you win. You think you should have put more. Well, like of course after you win, but that's how your money drains a lot quicker.
Yeah. So, well, first, if you have like no motive or confidence, like going into your pick, like you don't want to make it in the first place and just like hope for a prayer. Another thing is don't bet those popular same game parlays because for the most part they're not hitting. You're just giving FanDuel or whoever you're betting um, for. You're just gonna give them money pretty much. So yeah, I and the odds maker or the people that create the odds, you obviously don't want to go crazy on high odds because if you do, you could lose out on a shitload of money. The odds are high for a reason. You want to bet low with that, and that's why I like doing parlays because you bet $10 can win freaking 600, 700, 1,000, however much. Um, but yeah, so moving on to question number 9. Why is it important to have confidence in your pick and believe it has a good chance of happening rather than just putting anything together and saying, I hope this hits?
I think, you always want to have confidence because if you know from the start it's not going to hit and you just get that mindset, like, even if you win, like, you'll be like, oh my God, like, that's so lucky. And then the next time you'll keep doing it. If you have confidence in your bets, you'll always think it'll happen. And more times or not, like, that has actually like helped me to make stronger parlays and bets and not just stupid bets that I'm just throwing away money. And I've won more money and lost a lot less because of that.
Yeah, I think confidence just sports betting is basically with anything in life. You have to have like if you don't think it's going to work before it ever starts, it's not going to. And
Yeah.
like it goes for a lot of things, and it just having confidence in your pick just makes you feel better. It makes you feel better when you win too.
Yeah, I'd say, well, obviously, like betting, a lot of it is just like about luck, just like getting lucky. But if you do your research, like that, I guess, builds skill as well, and helps you become better at betting and getting more of the things you put down correct. So um, I feel like currently I never mind. So we're gonna go to question 10. I completely forgot what I was gonna say. But how much money are you currently up or down from sports betting?
So it's tough for me to say because when I was 20, I used my brother's social security and everything to make an account, but I was up on there. But if I go on FanDuel and check my account balance, I have currently 250 in my account. I try and keep around 200 just because on any Sunday I can bet up to like $75 for like the entire day. So if I lost everything, I still like to have more that I can win it all right back. But I am up right now around $1,350, which is pretty good if you ask me.
That's good, dude.
It's impressive. Like I said earlier, I like really just started. I've sort of helped my friends on some bets like for a long time. And just like giving me suggestions, and like I'll say, I don't think this guy. They'll ask me if I'm a Cowboys fan. They'll ask me about the Cowboys specifically or something I know that like maybe other people don't. But like I said, I'm up $33 because of the Trayvon Diggs pick last night. So so good start.
Nice. Yeah. I'm currently up around like 1,500 right now, and I've just been like on a roll recently. Um, I mean, like I bet baseball last night and hit on that. I don't even know how because like I don't even like I don't even really follow baseball like that other than the Phillies. But yeah, I'd much rather bet football and stuff anyways, just because I prefer to watch football and stuff. Um, but yeah, I am currently up right now. So for question number 11, do you plan on making any bets this Thursday night or this weekend, and what would it be?
Yeah, I'm definitely making bets for tomorrow. They'll probably throw out a boost. I'm thinking probably because of Waddle, Hill, and Jamar Chase. They might throw in like each receiver over 50, 60 yards, which would be like plus 300. So that would be a pretty good boost to look for, because I think it's going to be a pretty high offensive game. But I'll probably make a parlay for that game. I usually, for me in parlays, I try to not do money line, because my worst thing about losing is if I pick the wrong team. Like if I click or get all the player props and then I lose because the team that is supposed to win doesn't win. So what I like to do is pick the team that's supposed to lose, and then I add probably like 6 points to the spread, make it like 8 and a +8 spread, just so it gives me layaway. So if I hit everything else and the money line doesn't hit, like that would be devastating.
Yeah. Currently I don't have any bets placed for Thursday. I haven't really looked at the odds or anything like that, but I would be more inclined to go unders for Bengals receivers, just because the Dolphins secondary is very strong. They got Byron Jones and Xavier Howard back there, and Diggs didn't do much to him last week with Gabriel Davis, and they kind of shut the Bills down there. So that's more where I think I would go. I would also lean on the under for the Dolphins guys as well, just because Tua might not be fully healthy if he does end up playing. So I would think also maybe I would probably go under for the whole game if I had to make a bet there.
I think Tua is going to end up playing. I mean, I seen something, I think PFF put it on their Instagram. What did it say? He said if Tyreek is matched up with him and it's one-on-one, I'm giving Tyreek a shot. Just know that he is getting the ball. Tua said that on Tyreek Hill versus Eli Apple. So, I mean, I think he is going to end up playing, honestly.
He owes him.
What's up?
He owes him. Tyreek Hill. He owes Eli Apple.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no way they're putting Eli Apple on him. There ain't no way he's guarding Tyreek Hill alone, at least.
It'll probably be Cheeto.
Yeah. So right now, I haven't made anything for this weekend, but Thursday night I'm betting player props. So I already put my $10 wager down to win $4,207.
Oh god.
Yeah, and so it's like an 8-player one. So I got Jalen Waddle anytime touchdown score, Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown, Jamar Chase anytime touchdown, and then I got Jalen Waddle 80+ yards receiving, Tyreek Hill 80+ yards receiving, Joe Burrow over 268.5 yards passing, T. Higgins over 63.5 receiving yards, and Jamar Chase under 74.5 receiving yards. And yeah, that's it. So it's just like an 8-leg parlay, but I'm really hoping that hits. And I did a little bit of research for that, and I think as long as Tua plays, there's a possibility of that happening. And I feel like the Dolphins secondary is going to be concerned about Chase like catching the ball and stuff. So I feel like that's going to open up more opportunities for Higgins to get open and catch more passes. Although I do think Jamar Chase is going to score at least a touchdown in the game, but have the under in yards. I think.
Wasn't Higgins hurt?
What's up?
Isn't
No,
Higgins
he's
hurt?
back.
What's up?
He's back.
Yeah, he's back.
He played last game. He did
Mhm.
pretty good.
Well, that is all we got for questions today. Thank you for tuning in to the Zoinked podcast. Thank you, co-host Chris Bloom and Jameson Kramer, for
Yes, sir.
joining me.
Have fun.
It's been sports betting on the Zoinked podcast. Until next time, thank you.